Hi everyone. So I've just come to make a video about this novel that I've been writing, that I've been telling everyone about. And at the moment, the working title is The Bifurcated Village. I have some notes here. So I'm going to discuss the chapter that is entitled Jezebel Jabe and the Poisoned Apples. So in this particular chapter, we have Maxine Jabe, which was the protagonist in the first part of the story, which you all know about. And Maxine Jabe has a twin sister. They're identical twins. And her twin sister is Jezebel Jabe. So Jezebel Jabe lives in this village, and that's why the title is The Bifurcated Village. So in the village, the inhabitants are trapped. They are locked down in this village and they cannot get out. And they're trying to find ways to return to freedom and so that they can leave the village and so they're not trapped anymore. So as you probably imagine, Jezebel Jabe, being Maxine's twin sister, is our sort of baddie in this story, and Gloria Love is our heroine. So Gloria Love and Jezebel are the sort of two protagonists for this chapter. So what the situation is in this chapter, Jezebel, she wants to keep the inhabitants of the village trapped. She doesn't want to allow them to be free. And Gloria Love has the opposite agenda and she wants to set them free. So Jezebel, she manages to get access to this huge orchard and she grows lots and lots and lots of apples, enough apples for every single member of the village to eat an apple. And so she talks to the village and she says to them all, I have these apples, they're magic apples. I've grown them with the magic of the earth. And I'm going to give each one of you an apple. And when you eat the apple, you will be free. You won't be trapped anymore in this village. You'll be free and you'll be able to leave the village and go about your life. Life will get back to normal if you eat these apples. And a great many members of the village, a great many inhabitants of the village were so happy and cheering and like, yay, we have a way out. Finally, we have a way out of being trapped. So they were like, give me the apples, give me the apples. And they were all fighting over who was going to get the first apple. And Jezebel said, we need to give the apples to the most vulnerable members of society first so that they can get out of the village first. And everyone was arguing about who gets an apple, but she had enough apples for everyone. But there was this other group of individuals that just didn't feel like this was right. And they were asking questions. And Gloria Love is our heroine, our protagonist. She talks quietly to some of the members and says, look, this isn't true. This is a big lie. This is a big scam. What Jezebel is doing is she's actually poisoned the apples. So she doesn't poison the apples to the point where the inhabitants die as soon as they eat the apple. She's created this poison that lies dormant within the individual and it makes them ill and they have all sorts of reactions. And over time, it reduces the population of the village, which is one of Jezebel's agendas. So Gloria is trying to tell people this, but some people are just saying, you're ridiculous, don't be so crazy. Jezebel would never, ever do that. Jezebel is trying to help us. She does not want to reduce the population of this village and have all these other agendas, control the village. There's not just poison in these apples. There are all sorts of sort of artificial intelligence structures that can change the DNA of the individuals that eat the apple in order to make them more controllable. They won't question anymore. And it will make Jezebel, you know, the queen of the village, if you will, which is her agenda. She wants to be able to control the village. And she doesn't want Gloria involved in any of this. She doesn't want any of the people who don't agree with her agenda involved with this. She just wants to get these apples into the inhabitants of the village and make sure that they are eating those apples and then they will, over time, at some point, some sooner than others, but over time, eventually, all the apple eaters will become assimilated into Jezebel's sort of hive mind way of thinking. So Gloria Love, she's out there trying to change people's minds and try to help them and show them the truth. And many people don't believe her. They think she's crazy. And they get angry with her as well, because they absolutely believe that these apples are going to save them and make them free. And it's what they want, because they don't want to be trapped in the village. They want to be free. So for Gloria to come in and say, these apples are poisoned, they are actually going to harm you, potentially kill you and make you easy to control, that takes away the happy vision in their heads of freedom. So they're furious with Gloria, and they're furious with everyone who believes Gloria. But there are quite a few people who kind of felt this for themselves, and they come to talk to Gloria and they say, look, we believe you. We don't want to eat these apples. You know, what can we do? We then have some individuals that come to Gloria and say, look, I don't want to eat an apple. I believe you, but my husband wants to eat the apple. My daughter wants to eat the apple. My cousin, my best friend, person that I've loved for sort of 30 years, and I can't bear the thought of them eating the apple and something bad happening to them. And so Gloria wants to help these people. And what she says is, look, we can only be responsible for ourselves, and we can try to help those who want to eat the apple. But if they continue to see Jezebel as the one telling the truth, and that the apples really are the way to freedom, then there isn't really much we can do. There may be certain things, so that there is a herb garden in the village. Some herbs can be grown that can be given to the people who've eaten the apples, that may be able to help some of them to perhaps deal with the poison inside the apples, and you know, to perhaps live longer than they would. Nobody really knows how each individual is going to react to the apple, but everybody wants to try to help the apple eaters because they love them. But the apple eaters are furious at the individuals that don't want to eat the apple, because the thing is, Jezebel has said, we need a high amount of people to eat the apples. We need a good high percentage of apple eaters to open up the locked portals that will take us from the village into the outside world. These portals aren't going to unlock if at least sort of 70–80% of people eat the apples. Well, it's nowhere near that level. And the ones that don't want to eat the apples are saying, look, it's up to us what we put in our body. If we don't want to eat that apple, we shouldn't be forced to eat that apple. If we want to eat, you know, oranges and bananas and plums instead, then that's what we're going to eat. We don't have to eat an apple. And Jezebel is saying, well, yes, obviously we understand that, but this is about the freedom of the whole village. And if you don't eat the apples, then everyone else is going to stay trapped. So it's not just about the apple eaters being free. There's certain things that they can do. They might be able to access 1 or 2 portals and go to some of the other worlds within this realm of villages. However, they're not able to access all the portals and access all the freedom until there's at least a very high level of individuals having eaten the apples. And what Jezebel really wants is for everyone to eat the apple. You know, she doesn't want anyone in the village who hasn't eaten an apple. Jezebel's a bit frustrated because there are more people refusing the apples than she originally thought there would be. So what these individuals who don't want to eat the apples are saying is, they're so angry with us. What can we do? And this is why the title, the working title at the moment, is The Bifurcated Village, because the village becomes bifurcated. And it isn't just because of the different philosophies regarding the apples, it's because of an astrological and cosmic alignment that's occurring above the village, in the skies, in space, in the ethers around the village. This is a magical village, even though a lot of the magic has been sort of put into a dormant state and the stargates have been closed. The energy of that magic is still there, and these stargates are potentially going to open naturally. And what Jezebel wants to do is control which stargates open and control who gets to use them. So Jezebel is trying to fight nature. These apples are absolutely beautiful, and originally they were grown on the trees to try to help people and heal people and find ways to eradicate disease. But obviously Jezebel has hijacked the orchard and poisoned all the apples. So what happens is the village becomes bifurcated, and we've got these sort of two societies, and it does get to a point pretty much within the village where it's a 50-50 kind of thing, you know, maybe sort of 55-45 in favor of those who ate the apples somewhat. There are some individuals that don't know whether to eat an apple or not, so they're sort of caught in the middle, still trying to make up their mind. And Jezebel's trying to rush them and saying, look, you need to eat an apple, you need to eat an apple now. If you do, you'll be free. And Gloria and the people that are following Gloria are saying, please don't eat the apple, it's going to harm you. So you've got sort of a 50-50 rough split in the village between those who want to eat the apples and those that don't. And then you've got the individuals that aren't sure. Then Gloria discovers that there's another issue. It's not just about the individuals eating the apples and the individuals that don't. So those that eat the apples believe the way to freedom is for everyone to eat an apple. And they're really angry with those that won't eat the apple because they're threatening their freedom and their health, because Gloria is telling them that, you know, these apples are pure and they will prevent you from catching illnesses. So this is where the 50% of apple eaters are. And that's why they're so angry with those that won't eat the apples. Those that don't want to eat an apple obviously know the truth. They've been listening to Gloria and they kind of knew this within themselves. And they have to kind of deal with all the anger that's coming towards them, especially when it's their best friends and it's their family and it's their children and their mother and their boss and everyone in society that they're intertwined with. Every individual who doesn't want to eat an apple knows someone who does want to eat an apple, and vice versa. So it's not as if half the village are segregated in one side of the village and the other are segregated in the other side of the village, and there's a big wall down the middle to separate them. They are intertwined with one another and they are mixing with one another. And in the village, in some of the village huts, there is an apple eater and an apple refuser living in the same hut, which is very, very difficult for everyone. But there's another problem. Gloria finds out that this artificial intelligence kind of compound that's been put into the apple that lies dormant within the individual that eats the apple, and then over time it starts to intertwine itself with the individual's DNA and sort of rewrite the script of that individual's DNA, changing that person at the fundamental level, that person's thoughts and gene expressions. So it's kind of changing these individuals in the village from someone's dog is out there having a barking argument with another dog by the sounds of it. Sorry about that. So the DNA structures of the individuals that eat the apples are the script within the DNA is rewritten. It is experimental, so there are multiple ways that this could manifest in the different individuals, and even Jezebel doesn't know what's going to happen to the inhabitants in the village when they eat the apples. I mean, there are forces, as this is a magical village, there are forces that are working on this compound that goes into the individual that eats the apple lies dormant for a while. There are these sort of angelic beings that are very interested in the village and that love the inhabitants of the village, that are working on assisting these individuals to keep this package dormant so that it doesn't affect them. However, Jezebel knows that if she introduces certain things into the reality of the individuals that have eaten the apples, then this will activate this little package and cause problems. So there are multiple agendas going on. But one of the things that Gloria discovers is that because of this artificial intelligence package within the individuals that have eaten the apples, there is a sort of the change at the cellular level creates a change within the energetic system of the individuals that have eaten the apple. So their auric field, their energetic matrix changes. And the thing is, within this village, you've got these individuals that are normal, natural, organic human beings. And as organic human beings and magical human beings, because remember, this is a magical realm within this village, what actually happens, these individuals, as they walk past one another and talk to one another, it's not just their physical senses that are becoming part of that conversation. So as they talk to someone else, they look at that person, they take in that person's visual appearance. They can smell that person, they can touch that person, all of their physical senses without them even assimilating all of that or understanding all of that. It's just the natural human way. What actually happens is the glands within the body start to communicate with the people that they're speaking to. The thyroid gland, the pineal gland, the entire glandular system, and the matrix merges. So as one individual in the village speaks to another individual, especially if they're stood close together, but not always, they can actually be far further apart. And depending on the awareness of that individual and the expansion of the auric field, that auric field naturally merges with the individuals that they are communicating with. And that takes place on a psychic level. So you can have somebody at one end of the village and somebody right over the other end of the village who've never met, who are actually still able to merge the energetic field. It's like a oneness. And that merged energetic field becomes a being. And that being is known as the oversoul being or the logos being. So I'm just going to check if we're still recording. Yes, we are. And it only takes 3 people in the village to stand together and merge their auric fields in a magical way to create a higher being. So 3 human incarnated individuals within the village, as they merge magically together and open their fields, they create another being. The entire village together creates an oversoul or a higher dimensional entity, a logos, the divine Princess Aurora. And this is natural. This has been happening for thousands of years in the village and outside of the village and in all the other villages, because this is a magical realm. This is what happens in the magical realm. So what Gloria discovers in her research and her findings and her adventures, which is all in the novel, and that'll all be explained when you read the chapter of the book, and you'll be able to read about Gloria's life and the backstory and everything. I won't go into that now because we are just sort of discussing this particular chapter and the sort of main characters here. But what Gloria discovers on her journey is that this artificial intelligence within the compounds that are in the apples that lay dormant within the apple eaters, once that becomes activated, and even before it becomes activated, it's giving off this different signal. And it's a signal that the normal organic human beings on an energetic level don't recognize. So that when one individual who hasn't eaten an apple meets an individual who has eaten an apple on a grassroots level, and they communicate with each other, the thyroid gland, the pineal gland, the glandular system, the energetic matrix wants to merge with this other human being, because that's natural, that's what organic human beings do. And so it tries to merge, but there's an element within the signal that is scrambling that merging. There's no longer an ability to phase lock into the frequency with the other person and for the energetic field to merge, and so that the 2 individuals speaking understand each other and are communicating on multiple dimensional levels. So while Mary is saying to Sue, oh, how are your kids, how's your husband, what did you watch on TV last night, the energetic system is merging with the other energetic system, and oh, you've had X amount of past lives, and I knew you in this life, and I will know you again in the future. The memory system starts to merge within these individuals in this magical village. And of course, that can't happen. So you've got this apple, this individual who hasn't eaten an apple, doesn't want to eat an apple, talking to the apple eater, and their matrix field is trying to merge. And so the matrix field of those who don't want to eat the apple, the only way the matrix field and the energetic glandular system can psychically merge with the apple eater is to change their frequency to fit, to phase lock and fit. And what that does is send a rogue signal into the fields of the individuals that haven't eaten the apples. Now, this all happens on a collective level as well. So the whole of the village, if you've got one individual in one area of the village and another individual in another area of the village that have never met, but they're both going through something similar or having similar ideas or doing something at the same time, whatever it may take, the auric field will merge there, and then the entire village merge. And so you have this rogue signal, this fragmented signal that then, if you will, energetically infects all of the individuals who haven't eaten the apple. Now, Jezebel knows this to a point. Jezebel herself doesn't fully know how this is going to go. It's experimental. It's never been done before in the village or in any of the villages in this fantasy world. So what Jezebel is wanting to do to sort of make sure that this works is to get apples into everyone. Because to take the chance on a few individuals being infected with the rogue signal, they don't have enough data, even within the psychic individuals that Jezebel knows and that are advising her. They don't have enough data about how this would go. So they want apples into everyone, but they are aware that the non-apple eaters are potentially infected. So Gloria, our heroine, what does she do here? So she goes to see the ancient oracle, and she's a bit of a hermit, this old lady. She's actually lived for hundreds and hundreds of years, and she's really, really wise. So she's a major character in this story, and she is known as the grandmother. So not the mother or the grandmother, the grandmother, as in she's the mother, but she's great. She is the mother of all. She's the mother of the village, and she's known as mother. Everyone calls her mother. Everyone, even if they haven't met her, they call her mother, and that's a sign of respect to her. But she's a wonderful character in the story. So Gloria, along with quite a few of the sort of aware, trusted individuals that don't want to eat an apple, they go to see Mother. And she's an oracle, so she's able to divine. So what she does is she goes into her trance with the assistance of all of the crystals and amazing tools that she has around her. All sorts. She lives in this amazing cave, and she's just got all these amazing crystals and fantastic tools. Typical sort of fantasy fiction scene we'll go for. I haven't written that part of the book yet, but we will have jewels and crystals all around Mother. And she goes into a trance, and then she discovers the antidote or the shield for these individuals that don't want to eat the apple. And so she comes back and she tells Gloria, she talks to Gloria, and she tells Gloria exactly what she's divined from her trance. And because she only speaks to Gloria, Gloria is her relative, and so she trusts her. So Gloria then calls a meeting with all the individuals who don't want to eat the apples, sits them all down and tells them what they can do. And this is what Gloria Love says to the individuals who don't want to eat the apples. This is what she says. So the first thing that you must do in order to protect your energy field is to know that you can. It's to stand in the mastery that you have naturally and organically. Fear will, on the one hand, assist you to know that there's something that you need to do. It's a message. But when fear is held within your fields repeatedly and long term and consistently, it can affect your sovereignty, which is the result of you knowing your mastery. So number one, even if you have feelings of fear, number one, you must stand and know your mastery. So you would say things like, I am the master of my fields. I know my energy. I have all the capabilities that I need to be able to do this, to be able to stand in this mastery. Now, it doesn't matter if you have health issues, if you have disabilities, if you feel that in some way you haven't manifested the best aspect of yourself yet. All the individuals in the village had little issues where they feel that they could do better and could be doing more. There was no one in the village who actually felt, oh, I'm perfect, I've got it. I know how to live my life now. In every second of my life, I know how to be completely in tune and perfect. These are flawed individuals within the village. These are individuals that are learning and waking up. However, they are different to the individuals eating the apples in the sense that they are all connected to truth. And when they're connected to truth, they're connected to source and they are activated. So the DNA inside their bodies has already started to activate naturally and organically. They don't need to take any kind of substance to activate in any way. And they would not be led into a situation where they would take a substance that might harm them or affect their activation. So Gloria says all of this to these individuals. And so she wants to repeat to them what she was told by Mother when Mother went into a trance. What did Mother pick up? So the knowing that your energy system is cohesive and that you are the master of it. And there are multiple ways that you can work with that energy system. Bodily movement, nutrition, multiple different spiritual exercises, meditation, being out in nature, multiple ways. And this is what Gloria says to the individuals in the village, you may have a way of working with your energy system already. And you may not need this information from Mother, that Mother divined. You may find that the energy work that you're already doing is absolutely working for you. So carry on doing that. So Mother isn't saying to Gloria, everyone in the village has got to do this work. What Gloria is saying is Mother has come up with one form of shielding, protection, creating a shield, and a way to work with the energy system. But it doesn't mean you have to use it. You can use your methods. So the method that Mother has divined is the black flame, the working with the black flame. Now, Mother explained to Gloria that the black flame per se, whilst it's a beautiful method of esoteric work, it's advanced esoteric work. It's not very understood within the village or within any of the villages within this world. It's utilized in a distorted way by Jezebel's group, Jezebel's relatives and those that advise Jezebel, and the dark magicians from the other villages who are telling Jezebel what to do, and the ones that taught her about the poisoned apples. They use the black flame. The reason why they use the black flame is because they work with absorption of energy. They absorb the energy of others, and the black is an absorption ray or frequency. The individuals in the village that are aware and awake and love each other, and individuals like Gloria Love and those that follow Gloria Love, they radiate their energy fields within color, within light, within white, bluish white, rose gold, silver gold, and all the colors of the rainbow. And it's that beautiful ability to radiate the color that makes them vulnerable to the rogue signal coming from the AI within the apples. Because when they radiate naturally their frequency, and a lot of these individuals that won't eat the apples are activated, crystalline activated, they are psychic, they are unified, and they are very empathic. So they actually merge their fields and their entire glandular system with other individuals they speak to better than most individuals. They're so good at it because they're activated. But the fact that they radiate so beautifully is potentially an issue for them merging very well with the rogue signal. So what Mother was saying to Gloria is that the black flame, it's used for absorption, so it's used within Jezebel's group to shut down the energy system, to prevent radiation of rainbow color, gold, silver, and rose gold, because the individuals that Jezebel is related to are working with a path that shuts down the heart chakra and works with high intelligence and visualization and power, with the power center of the body, the solar plexus, and shuts the heart down. That creates control without any emotion. So there's no compassion there. There's no empathy there. But there is a high level of intelligence and control. And that's the group that Jezebel is with. That's Jezebel's family. So she's different. Whereas Gloria's family and the individuals who are following Gloria and don't want to eat the apples are working with opening the heart chakra, radiating the heart chakra. They're radiating beings of positive polarization. Jezebel's group are negative polarized beings that absorb and close down. So when you use the black flame, you go into absorption. There's nothing wrong with going into absorption. This is what Mother was saying to Gloria. Don't be afraid, even though you might hear, she's saying this to the individuals in the village, you might hear from others saying, don't use the black flame. That's what Jezebel's group use. It's a really dark, dangerous, esoteric teaching. And Mother was wrong to divine that information. And Gloria shouldn't have told us this. Gloria must actually be secretly working with Jezebel. So this is what the individuals in the village might hear from those who are not aware of the multiple layers of esoteric work and all the different flames and rays and frequencies. Frequencies are interpreted through color, and color is only one way that they are interpreted. There are multiple different ways you can interpret a frequency. So Gloria, she spent a lot of time with Mother learning all this, and she goes back and she tells the people in the village all of this. So what Mother actually said was, when you use the black flame, and there's nothing wrong per se with using it, it's just that if you are continually working with the black flame, continually absorbing, then you live like one of the Jezebel relatives, one of Jezebel's group. If you use the black flame intermittently when you need it, and the rest of the time you are radiating your fields in radiation, then that is simply mastery of your energetic fields. It's mastery of your matrix. You choose. You choose what flame you want to work with. It doesn't matter if it's black, white, gold, silver, bronze, rose gold, blue, red, yellow, green, purple, violet, lilac, orange. You choose. And you know what the different frequencies are and what the different colors mean. But the black flame specifically, what it does is it moves you into absorption. And when you are in absorption, you cannot radiate. And if you're not radiating, you're not merging. So you're not going to merge with this rogue signal that the individuals who've eaten the apples are giving out. So what you would do is, in your everyday life, this is what Gloria said to the individuals in the village, well, in your everyday life, you will be radiating. And you won't think about it necessarily, unless obviously you are focusing cohesively with your energetic work or learning and beginning with this. It becomes natural. You don't think, I'm going to radiate the color pink today. You can, it's part of your spiritual discipline, but it happens naturally. Your chakras open and they spin and you give off this energy field. And as your heart opens, you feel joy and bliss and connection. And that helps you to move your energetic field into the ether of the village and be aware of energetic signals and energetic fluctuations and energetic changes. So these individuals in the village are very aware. So when it's, say, the solstice, they all merge together. They all feel the high energetic frequency on that day, or the equinox, and they all know to celebrate, to move into magical work and manifestation work. And they all move together as one in this telepathic union. And it's beautiful and it's natural and organic, and that is what human beings in the village and in this world of villages are supposed to do in this fantasy world. That's what these individuals do, because they're magical beings. They were born with fully realized crystalline, when I say born, I mean born as souls, with created as souls, projected into an inception point as souls. They had the full 144,000 strand crystalline DNA. And that's what you do when you are that. You radiate those colors and light within this spectrum of multidimensional frequencies of abundance. So that's what's natural for these individuals in the village. And anything outside of that is not really where they work necessarily. But as they become masters with their energy field, they can learn to utilize different frequencies, and they can learn to work with the black flame. The black flame is simply absorption, which is the opposite of radiation. And what that gives you is grounding rather than expansion, rather than flying off into the cosmic realms through out-of-body experience or astral projection or Merkaba activated meditation. So that's transportation of one's fields, merging with the oneness of everything and going wherever you want to go. They can bring that down into self, absorption of self and self-absorption, which is the opposite of radiation and expansion and unity. It's the macrocosm and the microcosm. So when that self-absorption is used as part of this overall working with the energy field, that's all normal and natural and organic. And the black flame, yes, it is deeply esoteric work. It's been cloistered within the mystery schools, within the early development of the village and all of the villages, that they kept this kind of work secret, and it had multiple names. But when Mother went into her trance, she was able to access the if you like, Akashic records or fields of memory and information that's stored there. What can we use? What can we use for these individuals who don't want to eat the apples to help them with the work energetically, so that they don't merge with this rogue signal? And that was the information that was given to Mother. So what an individual would do, Gloria said to the individuals in the village, is instead of thinking of the black flame as service to self and bad and part of Jezebel's group, and the colored flames as in rainbow pink, blue, and the gold and the rose gold and the silver and the white as all good, that is a dualistic thinking that isn't going to serve you, Gloria said to the individuals in the village. You must unify with this and know that all the symbols and the esoteric methods that Jezebel's group use are distorted from organic reality. Everything is taken from organic, natural, human template. Everything is taken from the original 144,000 crystalline DNA formation and distorted and reduced and redacted and blocked. And so the black flame is just as beautiful and as helpful and as loving and as assisting as all the rainbow flames and the white flame. And you really can't be unified without the black, the white, and all the color in between. We need all of these flames. Just like the dragons, Gloria said to the individuals in the village, there are dragons that fly above this village. We know they live in the caves, in the mountains, and we have dragons of all different colors. They're not always seen all the time, but when the dragons fly above the village, there are black dragons, there are white dragons, and then there are dragons of every color. And this creates diversity, individualization within unity. And the dragons that hold all these different colors are the signs and symbols for the individuals in the village to interpret and understand. So the individuals in the village are taught by Gloria how to use the black flame. So what they would do is get all thoughts of the black flame being part of Jezebel's group out of their head, because if they think that the black flame work is part of Jezebel, they're not going to want to do it, and they're going to key into those sort of lower, let's say, lower fourth dimensional codes, if you will. So once you have come to purity with this knowing, the black flame is part of the overall organic work. Once you've come to that realization and that knowing, this is what Gloria said to the individuals. And because some of the individuals in the village weren't necessarily at that knowing, but there were others that were. So she spoke to them all as a group. And she said, well, you must find that knowing. You must know that this is part of your own energetic work and that it isn't a trick from Mother. It's not a trick from Gloria Love. It's not some kind of, we're really in cahoots with Jezebel. It is a genuine protective shield and energy work for the inhabitants of the village who do not want to eat the apples. So what you would do is you would radiate your colors naturally each day. And you would go about your business and do what you need to do, go where you need to go. So they can walk around the village, go in one another's huts. There's little shops in the village that they can go to and, you know, barter for other types of vegetables and fruit and things that they might need for their hut, and bear skins for their children, and all the things that one needs in village life. So they could go to do all these things radiating, and then they come into contact with someone who they know has eaten the apple. They know that individual has eaten the apple. Now, they might not feel anything or sense anything, but what they would do when they're in a conversation with the individual that has eaten the apple, they simply visualize the black flame. So there are many ways of doing this. They can visualize closing the chakras down and it's all temporary, but that will happen naturally with the black flame. So what one would visualize is that there is a black flame just coming into the auric field. The flames are black fire coming into the field, and that the black flame is encasing the individual with this beautiful black color, and it encompasses all of the individual. And then they can talk to that individual, but they are knowingly saying to their own DNA, when they use the black flame, I do not want you to merge with this individual's fields. I wish you to absorb within self, within absorption, within self-absorption. You become self-absorbed energetically. That is your protection. That is your shield. And you then communicate with this person. How are you? How are you today? How are the children? What did you have for lunch? What did you have for dinner? And what have you seen on your what did you see when you looked in the well this afternoon as you were divining for inspiration or whatever you do in the village? Lots of things happen in this village. So you have this conversation, and as you're having a conversation, you are just bringing in the black flame and knowing it is there. Stay in a place of joy. And you know that that black flame is saying to the DNA, because it is a flame letter, because it's a flame, and it's a powerful flame letter because it's a flame. In fact, the flames are the ultimate flame letters. They work with the entire alphabet of the DNA. So the flame, the black flame, is saying we do not merge with this person's signal. We become self-absorbed. We merge with self. So you just recycle your energy around. Yes, that's not good to do permanently. That's what Jezebel's lot do, but you can absolutely do this temporarily. You're in control, you're the master. And then when you've finished speaking to this individual, bye, see you later, and off you go. And then radiate out, spin out the black, open up the rainbow, whichever you want to do. Work with the rose gold is another beautiful different aspect of the flame letters. Gloria was saying to the individuals in the village, and she knew this already. She didn't need to go to Mother. She'd already learned about the rose gold flame and how that connects you with the crystal river, which is an energy that runs through the land of the village and runs through the individuals. It's just working in a different way. So there are, and in fact, if you read my book, The Black Box Program and the Rose Gold Flame as Antidote, in there, what's being spoken about regarding the Rose Gold Flame as Antidote is the same thing in this fictional book that these characters, these individuals, these inhabitants of the village will use. Because obviously, my fictional books will be based on the spiritual books I've written, as they are sort of intertwined together. So what Gloria also said to the villagers is there are things you can do to assist you to manifest the visualization, because some people in the village have issues with visualization and they feel that they're doing it wrong. And Gloria said to them, you can't do this wrong. Even if what happens to you is it doesn't look black, it looks a different color, or maybe there is a being that comes to you instead, or a flower, or a shape, or anything. Trust your own visualization. The black flame is simply just a foundation. And if you are a master within your energy field, what you work with will be unique. And Gloria said this to the inhabitants in the village. And she said to them, trust your own visualizations, trust your own energy. But for those who want to work specifically with the black flame, there are things you can do to assist you. Now, one thing you can do is wear a black crystal around your neck. So I'm wearing this in honor of this fictional book and this fictional shield that Mother divined about in this chapter of the book, The Bifurcated Village. So you could wear this is obsidian. You could wear any black crystal will do this work, will assist you with this work, but they all work in different ways. Obsidian really heavily brings the fields down, heavily and very grounding. And that's what you're doing. You're grounding. Instead of radiating and expanding and flying and transporting your fields, you're grounding them down. You are anchoring them. It's just like being in a ship. You're either shooting off at full speed ahead across the ocean, or you dock and you take your anchor out and you anchor into the sand. The black flame is simply the anchor. You can use the anchor as much as you want, and then you're back on your ship as much as you want. So the obsidian crystal, and there are many, many different ways you can find obsidian crystal in the village. All different little shops are selling these different crystal amulets or talismans. It's definitely an amulet. And so in the village, there is a beach. And if you go down to the beach, you can find crystals in the sand. So there's all sorts of ways. And the different people in the village carve them into different things. So this is a little hamster hand, which is mine in real life. But in the village, obviously, I haven't got to writing that particular chapter yet. But there'll be all sorts of obsidian amulets that the village inhabitants can use. So there are other things I've got here in my real world to show you the sort of things that the inhabitants in the village can use. So this is a Hermatite bracelet. This one's magnetic. You don't have to, I think not all Hermatite's magnetic. So it's the color, but they work in different ways. And a magnetic Hermatite would sort of make the fields of the aura reverberate. All of them will help with the black flame. They all work, and you can wear them all together. Or if you don't want to wear them as jewelry, Gloria said to the individuals in the village, then you can keep the crystals in your hut, and you can, you know, sleep with the crystals under your straw bed, or you can use the crystals when you're cooking your meal, or you could put crystals in the local pond and go and have a bath in the pond with your crystals in the little pond where you're bathing. Multiple ways to use them. So I've got here, this is a Shungite Pyramid. Perhaps we'll bring in sort of some little Shungite rocks that the inhabitants can find down on the beach. But obviously this is, you know, I've got this in real life because it's here. Shungite Pyramid does the same thing. Shungite is massively powerful, and I'll tell you how that works. It's like a constant clearing. So obsidian grounds the auric field down and really helps with that black flame. The hermatite creates like a reverberation like a frequency just running, like a sound wave running through the auric field, but that assists with the black flame. Shungite is like clearing everything out. So this rogue signal, there's no way it's going to get anywhere near you when you are working with the black flame and you're using Shungite, because it's like whoosh. It's like, because what the black crystals do is, all crystals do this, when you wear them, when you have them close to you, the signal is copied within your own matrix field. So as a master of your matrix mastery, matrix awareness, said Gloria to the individuals in the village, you hold the Shungite and you just ask it, if you want to communicate, please will you mirror your energy within my fields, or just merge. There doesn't have to be language as you communicate. You just merge, you just become one with, and that Shungite energy will go into your fields. And you can work with this at home. Gloria said to the individuals, work with this in your hut before you go out and walk around the village. Because obviously this works on a telepathic level as well. So it's not just about meeting people in the village, it's about the overall signal that all of the individuals in all the villages in this realm are giving out. So Shungite is fantastic. Another way of working with the black flame and anchoring the black flame is orgonite. So this is an orgonite pyramid, and this has in it obsidian and tourmaline. Tourmaline is another really good one, and so you can have that with you. Some of these are different. They're very unique. Some orgonite has got quite a lower. They all have a frequency. Some of them have got lower frequencies because they're sort of mass produced, and you know, they work a little bit. They all work, but they may not give out a really powerful field, but they will if they're with other crystals. So we're going to bring some orgonite, I think, into this chapter for the inhabitants of the village to use. I think we'll have one of the individuals that doesn't want to eat an apple. We'll have someone in the chapter character making orgonite. But some orgonite gives out really powerful signals, really powerful. And if you're empathic and psychic and intuitive, you'll be able to tell. And then I think this one, you know, I'm not actually sure what crystal that is, but again, it's black. So any black crystal will work. And I also recently picked up a obsidian crystal ball. So this will help me with working with the characters in the novel, because I can help visualize all the fictional ideas that I have that are totally and utterly fiction. So there we go. And you can get little crystal trees. So I've got a little, this one's a green aventurine. You can get black obsidian or black tourmaline, have that sat with you. Multiple ways to use the crystals or the orgonite, either as ornaments, talismans, amulets, jewelry. Your choice, totally your choice. Really good for women, because most women just sort of love jewelry. So, you know, you can just go and well, I know I do. You can go and find something, but men can wear, you know, these gorgeous amulets and pendants as well. So any black will work. Tourmaline works in it gives out a signal like Hermatite, but instead of it being sort of a reverberating signal going outwards, tourmaline kind of just takes the signal up into the auric field, and it communicates with the auric field. So if you were to utilize in your life one way or another, Gloria said to the individuals in the village, tourmaline, obsidian, hermatite, shungite, and any other agate, there is as well, any other of these black crystals, and you use them in conjunction with the black flame visualization work, and you use them with one another. So, you know, I'm just wearing today the tourmaline, but I could choose to then put on the hermatite, and I could choose to meditate with the shungite. You know, in honor of this particular chapter, I wanted to buy a new watch, and I even bought a black watch, even though so this isn't a crystal and this isn't going to give me a signal, but what it can do is you can work with color therapy. So if you're not, if you want some assistance in visualization and you had a black watch or some other, a black scarf, a black jacket, a black coat, just look at the color black, hold it in your fields, and as you speak to the individual that's taken the apple, you just visualize black, the black flame. So what is interesting further into the chapter, one of the individuals comes to Gloria and says she's got an interesting story to tell. So she was walking around the village, and she was walking past several people that probably had eaten an apple, but she didn't really feel anything. And Gloria said, well, more than likely the AI compound and is lying dormant, and they're not necessarily giving off a rogue signal on their own. So what Gloria was saying to this individual is it's very much about the collective signal, and that's why the collective have to work. That's in all the inhabitants of the village. So I'll get to that in a minute. What this lady said to Gloria is she was walking along around the village, and she didn't really pick anything up from anyone, even though she knew some of them had eaten an apple. But then all of a sudden, she just turned around the corner past this huge oak tree to go into the other area of the village down by the pond to visit the blue unicorn. And as she walked around the corner, the black flame started to work automatically. Without her even thinking, oh, I need to do the black flame work because there might be somebody around there that's eaten an apple who's giving out. It just happened automatically. The flame just started to work. And she thought to herself, what's happening? How is this happening automatically? And Gloria had already discussed everything with Mother, that this might happen. So Gloria already had the answer from Mother. What Mother had said is if anyone starts to automatically work with the black flame without them even visualizing that, what that is you have taken the focus into your matrix fields as a unified working between yourself in the third dimension and yourself in the fifth and higher dimensions. Basically, this is a guided higher dimensional work. It's like the auric field, the matrix, has an intelligence and a consciousness of its own that's separate from you, but also merged with you. It can work on its own when you tell it what you want it to do. So if you are consciously connected in that way, especially when you work with crystals, and you say to the auric field, if I come into contact with anyone who's eaten an apple, will you just automatically work for me? The thing is, this lady didn't even say that. This lady didn't consciously say to her auric field, please, will you do the black flame without me having to think about it? It just happened in the aisle of the supermarket. I mean, as she walked around the corner by the tree to see the blue unicorn to go down the pond. She wasn't in a supermarket, was she? I mean, there's no supermarkets in a village. So as she's walking around that tree, this happened naturally. And then she realized, she intuitively knew, and Gloria confirmed this, that the individual that was stood by the river, also wanting to see the blue unicorn, had recently eaten the apple. She'd only eaten the apple that day, that morning, or the day before, perhaps the day before. So when someone has very recently eaten the apple and everything is sort of assimilating within their body, then they're giving off this signal. And then everything sort of may or may not, depending on the person, lay dormant. So what Gloria was saying to the individuals in the village, you're not necessarily under threat or anything from the individuals that have eaten the apple. You can talk to them, you can go and hug them if you want to. What this is about is knowing your own energy field and working with it within you and as an outer aspect of you. So you can sense, or rather the energy field itself sensed. Because as this individual was walking around the supermarket aisle, I mean the oak tree, to go down to the river to see the blue unicorn, as she was doing that, she wasn't conscious. She was looking at her shopping. I mean, looking at her the acorns in her basket that she was collecting for the other inhabitants of the village. And as she was walking around with these acorns in her basket, she was concentrating on the acorns and what she was going to cook for tea. She wasn't even thinking about the black flame. And suddenly it started to happen. And that's because the lady there had just eaten the apple. So this is about energetic mastery, matrix mastery, being the master of your matrix. It is the crucial foundational work, and it's so important for everyone. So what Gloria then wanted to tell the inhabitants of the village is about the collective work, because you can work individually. Oh, you know, these 3 people, they haven't eaten an apple, that's fine. They might eat an apple next week, but they're not part of the sort of hive mind rogue signal that Jezebel's group are creating. These 2 have had an apple. This person ate an apple 2 months ago, and you can't really tell that they're giving off any kind of rogue signal or any toxin. This person ate an apple this morning, and oh gosh, I can really feel it, you know? Trust your energy is what Gloria said to the individuals. Remember, this is a magical village, and every inhabitant of the village is innately magical, especially if they choose not to take the apple. If they choose not to eat the apple, then they are magical. Why? Because they've moved away from the narrative that Jezebel is giving to the village. They, instead of listening to that narrative and thought, yes, you're right, the apple is the way to freedom, and of course we're going to believe you. Why would you possibly lie to us? You want to get out of the village as much as we do. If you're not thinking that way, and you are thinking, hang on a minute, is Jezebel telling the truth? Is Jezebel working with a group of people who want something different? If you are anywhere there, then you are magical. Why? Because you're thinking out of the box, which is what Gloria said to the individuals in the village. So working collectively, and this is where the black flame assists. So when you work collectively, you work as yourself individually with others. So you radiate your energy fields together. So you work as a group mind, not in a hive mind sense where you lose your individuality. You work as a group mind in a telepathic union where you choose whether you want to be part of that collective or not, because you are utterly individual. And the more you work with that collective group, the more individual you become, because you move all of that into you and you give all of that to all of those people. So what Gloria actually said to these individuals is, we used to work as the entire village, even if the individuals who have eaten apples didn't know that they were working telepathically together to create an energetic field, which creates a group soul, which is a logos. Even if they didn't know they were doing that, and in many ways, some of their signals would have been blocked anyway by their lifestyle and their own thoughts and consciousness. it was still a group soul created by a planetary consciousness, a village consciousness. I mean, in the book, these aren't planets, these are villages. But as we get further into the book, we'll decide whether these are actually planetary structures or dimensions, or a bit of both the same thing, perhaps, in this fictional world. So what Gloria is saying to these individuals is, when the solstice comes, when the equinox comes, you tune in not only on the cosmic field of the ether around the village and around this realm of villages, but you tune in also to the other inhabitants in the villages that are like you, that have not eaten an apple. And you merge with them as well, and you will know when together you can radiate and when together you use the black flame. So once you start to be aware of the other inhabitants in the village and the fact that they are your brothers and sisters and that they are here to do the same job as you, you become unified with them and you hold the frequency for the entire village at Logos level, because those who've eaten the apples are no longer able to do that. So it's more important than ever that the individuals who are able to do this are able to do this, and that they do this. And that is what Gloria said to the individuals is Divine Princess Aurora. And on a masculine level, Archangel Michael. There are multiple names for these Logos group soul consciousnesses. So they are held in place by the aware and awake activated individuals who don't eat the apples. And that works stronger than ever because the fields radiate higher as a compensatory move to the loss of signals coming from a large group within the village. So a large group within the village have eaten an apple and are unable to radiate their signal. They do move into they move into a state of the opposite of mastery of your own matrix. They move into sort of a wilderness signal, a wilderness place, a kind of, if you will, to give that a flame or a ray. It wouldn't even be a flame because you need charge to hold a flame. It would be like a grey field. That's kind of where they go. Now, not all of them. There are some individuals that eat the apple that were already aware and activated, and they are the individuals more likely to work with the angelic beings that are able to keep their package of rogue AI signal encased in a bubble laying dormant without it actually affecting their own physiological system. And some of these individuals, because they were already aware and awake, they may be able to override the signal. They're rare, but they do exist. And this is the thing, it's an experimental energy that has multiple playouts. And that's what Mother told Gloria. So Gloria repeats this information. So on a collective level, if all the individuals, or the majority of the aware individuals, are working with their energy field, and they will be if they are aware and awake and activated within the village, they will, whether they're using the black flame or whether they're using some other form of energetic shield, sacred geometry, or their own created structure, as long as there is cohesion within the model that they are using and the tools that they are accessing, then that becomes an override signal for them collectively, and therefore the rogue signal coming in from the individuals that have eaten the apples doesn't permeate through the aware humanity, or the aware individuals in the village. It allows them to retain their mastery as a collective group and hold that frequency as a collective group. So you only need a few working with one particular flame letter to create a very high radiation of consciousness within the field, Gloria said to the individuals in the village. So if you have a few hundred or a few thousand even working with the black flame, then that becomes a communicative language of light that passes through all the aware individuals and acts as a canopy or a shield for them. What this is also doing is the rogue signal coming from those who've eaten the apples is permeating into the ether to try to distort the ability to move into a crystalline 144,000 DNA infinite helix configuration. Because that's there, it acts as a catalyst for the opposite. It acts as a catalyst for the group mind, the logos expression, that is the accumulated aware consciousness of all the individuals in the village, to move ever stronger into the 144,000 DNA crystalline formation, to unify ever more, to stand within clear fields and fields of individualized mastery ever more. The very thing that Jezebel's group are wanting to create is backfiring, if you will. The very thing Jezebel's group are wanting to prevent are creating that thing. And it's working with everything within the village, because, you know, the apples aren't the only thing that Jezebel's group have been using to control the inhabitants of the village. There have been multiple different agendas, and all of them are acting as catalysts to the opposite, and they are creating the very thing that they are trying to prevent. And evidence of that, it's not really seen in the village in this particular part of the chapter when the apples first come out, because there's a lot of fear and a lot of worry which sort of muddies the signal, even amongst those who stand in mastery. They're still going to question and think, gosh, you know, are we going to be forced to eat an apple? Are our loved ones going to eat the apple and lose their lives? I mean, what's going to happen to all the apple eaters? So that thought is reverberating around within the consciousness of the village and the multiple villages within this magical fantasy realm. But as we go forward into the timeline of the novel, we see evidence of everything that Jezebel is doing and Jezebel's group is doing is actually backfiring on them, and that the very thing they're trying to prevent, which is the freedom of the village, the opening of these other higher stargates, which allows not only freedom on a physical level for the people to actually leave the village, to go through the portals and leave the village and come back and return at will, but they can actually go above that and find freedom within their reincarnational cycle. So the trapping system that Jezebel and Jezebel's group are creating through the apples, the rogue signal within the apples, is intended to trap more than just the village. It's intended to trap all the villages, and intended to trap the reincarnational lines within the spirit realms of the villagers. And that is working in an opposing way. And all of this has been going on out of time. So what I mean there is Mother will have brought forward information to Gloria to share with the villagers about all this sort of 10 years ago. She's hundreds and hundreds of years old, and this character, she will have brought forward information hundreds of years ago about this, because she tunes into a place where everything happens at once. It's simultaneous. This black flame work, as you learn to utilize the black flame and the different rainbow flames and the white flame and the violet flame and the rose gold flame, Gloria said to the inhabitants of the village, she said to them, as you begin to work with this, this takes you into those reincarnational systems, allows you to see them and allows you to choose to move out of them. Because if you're a master of your energy fields, then you're a master of your soul, because the energy field, the matrix, is your soul. And when you pass from your physical body, you are left with the matrix, which you've been working with while you're incarnated in the village. So Gloria teaches the villagers that everything you're learning now is for not just now, but it's for your future, but it's also for when you leave your physical body, or if you choose to leave your physical body. Individuals who have mastery over their matrix fields can choose when to leave their physical body and how to leave their physical body. When you do, there is no trapping system. You can't be forced to reincarnate again because you choose. The only way you're forced to reincarnate again is if you don't have any knowledge of your matrix or your energy system and you don't know how to master it. And the energy system, whilst I say, Gloria says to the inhabitants of the village, while Gloria says that this is your soul, it's your DNA. That's what it is. It is the DNA sequencing. And that is what is being or attempted to be corrupted. Because if you can corrupt just one aspect of the DNA in one person, so if just one person eats an apple, then the idea coming from Jezebel's group is for it to replicate throughout the collective, throughout all the inhabitants of the village, kind of like a rogue corrupted file on a computer. You know, so if you have a corrupted file on your computer, and then you plug your phone in or your iPad or something, or you have a router that serves several devices, that rogue signal could go through and corrupt all the files on all of your devices. That's kind of the theory. But like I said, Jezebel's group don't want to take the chance that it works that way. They want everyone physically eating apples. And also there is a possibility, and this is another thing. These individuals within, it's a complicated chapter, isn't it, this one? There are some individuals. Let's just see if we're still recording. Yeah. There are some individuals in the apple eating community in the village that are able to rewrite the signal within their own DNA, because they ate the apple when they were already awake and aware and crystalline activated. And it may be that one package lays dormant and it just doesn't affect them. And they're able to cohesively hold that DNA sequence and therefore become masters of their own matrix and ascend, if you will, through memory, hold their memory through the leaving of the physical body, hold that memory, hold the structure, and move out of the reincarnational cycle and use their own intention and focus as to where they next reincarnate or where they next go or how they express their fields as a soul that is non-physical. So what Jezebel's group are doing is giving them more apples. Just in case the first apple doesn't work, you need another apple, you need another apple. You may need to eat several apples per year. You may need to eat several apples per 6 months. So that's the agenda, because they're covering themselves and covering themselves and covering themselves. So you've got all these individuals that, give me as many apples as you think I need to eat, and I will just munch on them all. And therefore, the chances are that those who were able to master their fields with the first package, you know, if they keep on eating apple after apple after apple, eventually one package gets activated. And then you've got all these other individuals who are working with their own energy fields and are not in alignment with eating the apples. And they work with the black flame. So we've got two main agendas here in the village, which is why it's a bifurcated village. We've got the individuals coming in from Jezebel who want everyone in the village to eat an apple. And then we've got Gloria's group who had the assistance of Mother and the black flame work, the rose gold flame work as Antidote, the connection with the Crystal River, which we might in the real world know as the Schumann resonance, but in the village, it's the Crystal River. And their agenda is evolution of the species and the preservation of the village itself, the opening of the stargates, freedom for all the villagers and all the other villages, and unification of all the villages. That's their agenda. And there's one thing that's very important, and that is that this is a magical realm. This is a magical village. The people are magical. They are gaining that magic back. And that is the organic structure and code within the ether of this collection of villages. And that is the code that will sustain naturally and organically. And although it's continually being, relentlessly being hijacked and suppressed and disjointed and fragmented and all of those things from Jezebel and Jezebel's group, everything will bounce back to its organic structure again and again and again and again. However, the organic structure itself, consciousness itself, is strengthened and magnified by the power up signal, the amplifier. What is that amplifier? The amplifier is the consciousness, the mind, and the thoughts of the humans, the aware activated humans in the village. So consciousness itself and the humans that hold that consciousness work in synergy. And the humans act as an amplification to the signal of consciousness itself. And that's what all this crystal work is about. It's just a tool. And you don't have to use a crystal to work with the black flame, Gloria said to the individuals in the village that were listening to her. She said to them, you don't have to use a crystal. You can just visualize the black flame. You don't have to use the black flame. You can use any shield work you want to use that works for you, that will take you into a place of mastery over your fields and your matrix. It could simply just be a thought of, I am sovereign. I am sovereign, and that's that. The indigo frequency, the warrior frequency, many, many, many different ways. The black flame is one method for the inhabitants of the village to use, and it's the method that Mother divined when she went into the Akashic records. And it's known as a flame letter, so it's known by the DNA. So when you start to use the black flame, the DNA responds, I know what you're doing. You're going into absorption, self-absorption, in order to shield your frequency because you do not wish to at this point radiate. And when we all learn this individually, when the inhabitants of the village learn this individually, Gloria said to them, then it will all happen automatically. And this takes the consciousness of the humans in the village to the next level, the next higher dimension. And they all become masters. So yeah, that's the chapter. That is the chapter, which is in the book, The Bifurcated Village. The working title, the chapter is Jezebel Jabe and the Poisoned Apples. And yeah, I forgot to mention, I also have a lovely obsidian ring as well, set in silver, which I'm going to be wearing a lot of. And every time I go out, I personally, I'm going to wear some of these black crystals in honor of my fictional novel to give it life. And you can do the same thing. Okay, so this is how to magically work with writing a fictional novel. making the fictional novel based on something that occurs in your own life or in the world of the collective, please remember that everything I've said today is all fiction. And if there is any resemblance to what is going on in our real world, well, that's magic. Okay, thanks so much for listening. I will be back soon. Take care. Love you all. Bye.